Okay, today we're making a Bear's Paw quilt block. We're going to make a 12-inch block. So to begin with, you will need 2 squares of a background color that are 6 inches and 2 squares of your main color, which is 6 inches. So 4 of those that are 6 inches. You'll need 4 4-inch squares, and you'll need 4 2 1/4 inch squares and 1 2-inch square. And then your sashings will be 2 inches by 5 3/4. So to start with, we're going to get our large blocks, our large squares, and we're going to make some half square triangles out of these. So to begin with, we will place this one face side up, and then our background color face down, and then we're going to make some marks. So I've got my ruler here. I'm going to mark from corner to corner. And then 1 inch or 1/4 inch from there, I'll mark another line. Now this is the line I'm going to sew on. We'll repeat the other side. Okay, so we've got 3 lines here. The middle one we're not using. These 2 on the outside are going to be the ones that we sew on. We'll do the same thing on the opposite corners. We'll take it over to the sewing machine. We're sewing along those 2 outer lines. So in order to just save a little bit of thread, I'm just going to be feeding one right in after the other. So I've sewn along the outer markings on each of these squares, and it's time to trim them up into our half square triangles. So I like to use my mat here and just line it up. This one fits perfectly in that little square. It doesn't always work out that way, but you're going to cut in half this direction, exactly in half. And then you're going to go horizontally exactly in half as well. And then you're also going to cut along those center lines that we didn't sew on. We'll use that as a guide to cut in both directions. All right, we will just press all of these open. We're going to press towards the dark color. Okay, we'll just trim them all up to 2 1/4 inches. If you want a little more detail on how I do that, you can watch my half square triangle video. I'll link it here and below in the description. But basically I just line up the measurements on the ruler to determine how I'm cutting them. Okay, now we have all our half square triangles ready to go. So for now we're going to set aside our little center block and our sashing pieces. But we're going to line up our bear's paws. So the way you want to do it is you're going to take your bigger block, and then you're going to have 2 of your paws with the red pointing down and to the right. And then you'll have your white block, white square, and then you're going to have 2 more half square triangles with the red side pointing towards the left and towards the top. So just like that. So we're going to lay out all of our blocks and we'll begin sewing them together. Got those ones the wrong direction. I think that's why it's really important, at least for me, to lay everything out so that I can just make sure that I've got it all facing the correct way. The reason I like to lay it all out is because now what I'm going to do is going to sew together these top pieces on all of them. And I'm going to just grab one set, run it through, grab the next, run it through. Okay, we'll just give them a quick little press to help them lay flat. I kind of have decided that it doesn't matter which direction, at least on this part of the block. And we'll grab these pieces and sew them all together at this point. Okay, so now I'm going to take our top claw here and our square and I'll sew those together. And then I'll grab the big square and the claws and sew those together and just kind of run through them all, chain sewing as I go. Okay, so as we're pressing these, it's important to press them away from the claws on this part, and then they will nest perfectly together as we sew them together. So apparently I didn't have record on, but all we're doing is we're taking our top piece and sewing it onto the bottom, and we'll do that through all of them. Just make sure that your seams are nested. This seam right here will nest with each other and lay nice and flat. We'll just give them a nice press. I like to press away from the claws just because it's a little less bulky in that direction. All right, now we're going to arrange our full block. So each of these paws are going to face outward with the claws facing outward. And then we'll grab our little sashing pieces and just place them in the middle between each one, and then the very center we'll have our little red block. I'm going to grab this one and I'll go like this, and I'll sew right here. Immediately after I'll sew this one and then this one. Just do a quick press before we add the next row. So what I'm doing on this one, we're going to press towards the background color on every block. So on this one, we'll press towards the background or the cream color, and then they'll nest perfectly. Just makes your block a lot flatter and just come together nicely when you nest your seams. And we'll just add these other ones, and the same thing with the pressing. We'll press towards the background again once we sew them. All right, one more time through, and we'll just sew them, all three of the pieces together. There you have it.